Detail. Oh.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to, to the states of America, to the flag which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order on. Right. Face. Forward. March.
We have with us the Reverend Gail Gaiman. Please approach and give us our invocation.
O God, eternal Father and everlasting King of heaven and earth, we render you acknowledgement of your supreme dominion over us and gratitude for your paternal solicitude and watchfulness. As we gather here in humble recognition of your divine providence, we beseech you to usher into our world of confusion and doubt the peace and tranquility which alone comes from you. Amen.
Thank you. Everyone could be seated. First, I want to welcome everyone to our annual service. This has been very, very successful over the years, and we want to thank the County of Westchester, particularly our county executive, for allowing this service to become as special as it has been. Today is obviously Veterans Day, which is a reminder, and the reminders are certainly essential if this nation is going to continue to make successful the experiment that was started back in the revolutionary days. I am very, very privileged and proud to be able to head the Department of Veteran Services, and I always say it's the most important job in the county, and that's taking care of the people who take care of us. So today is certainly special. I have with us a bunch of people today that took the time out of their very busy schedule because they recognize the importance and the meaning of the day. So we are very, very proud and pleased that you joined us today. I had a couple of remarks that I'll conclude later on, but I wanted to suggest that today there are less than 77% of the population of our nation are veterans. It's hard to imagine a smaller group of Americans that have given so much to this country. The commitment of our veterans to our security, freedom, and our Constitution and our way of life is in total in body and mind. We gather on days like this to acknowledge their commitment and sacrifice with formal ceremonies like this. So that, I think, is very, very important. With that said, I'd like to bring to our podium a special person who I've admired for many, many years, who's become a very, very close friend. Started in government together, actually, and maybe just a few years younger than me. But at the same time, our county executive, who has showed so much success in government and done so much for the veterans in our county, George Latimer. George.
Not that young anymore. Thank you, Ron, and I want to publicly thank Ron as I come to the end of my service as county executive. He has done a brilliant job for us heading the Veteran Services. He did so for my predecessor, and I hope he does so for my successor, and we're greatly appreciative, Ron. You have been the heart of services to veterans, your service in the county legislature, in the state legislature, where he headed the Assembly Veterans Committee, and I always want to recognize him on a day like today with a round of applause. Ron Tocci. I have the great opportunity to introduce some of my fellow elected officials who are here, and if I miss any, then Ron, I'll rely on you to catch a few of them afterwards. But we're joined by United States Congressman Mike Lawler. We also have with us members of the Westchester County Board of Legislators. Just coming up the driveway right now is the chairman of the Board of Legislators, the Honorable Vedat Gashi. Give us a wave, Vedat. And we're joined by legislators Erica Lang-Pierce, Colin Smith, Nancy Barr, and I'm looking down the driveway. I don't see anybody else yet, but there's 17 of them, so we only have 4 of them so far. We'll look out for the rest of them, but they're all very good friends with us today. We have with us the mayor of the village of Rye Brook, Jason Klein. Jason, thank you for being here today. The commissioner of the department that runs this facility and others, Kathy O'Connor, is here. She does a great job. And her first deputy chief, first deputy commissioner, Pete Tartaglia, is here. I see we have the supervisor of the town of Yorktown, Ed Latimer, with us here. Ed, thank you for your presence today. And we, again, will recognize other individuals along those lines. I also want to recognize David Zapsky, who is both a veteran and head of the Friends of Lasden. And you don't know how much we rely on the Friends groups for each of these parks to help keep us in the direction. David, thank you for your service both in the military and then here as well as part of our community. Thank you. Very briefly, we've had a very interesting fall. And you might think I'm talking about one thing, but I'm not. I'm talking about the Major League Baseball season. I'm a New York Mets fan. My team was dead as a doornail at the end of May. I gave up on them, and then all of a sudden I was reminded that it ain't over till it's over. Thank you, Yogi Berra. And then by the time they had some miracle finishes coming down the home stretch, incredibly, on the day after the regular season ended, they wound up in a doubleheader in Atlanta, House of Horrors for Met fans. And they wound up getting into the playoffs, upsetting Milwaukee, upsetting Philadelphia, haha. And I dreamed dreams of a Subway Series, and my friends who are Yankee fans, they upheld their end of the bargain. And then the Dodgers came along and took both the Mets and the Yankee fans and put us in joint misery. And so what I remember thinking when I watched the Dodgers beat the Yankees, I said, I'm a Met fan. I was rooting for the Yankees in the World Series. But at the end of all of this, I'm a Major League Baseball fan. I'm a kid that grew up on baseball. That's not the hot sport these days. I love football, but everybody has football at the top of the list. I still like baseball better. It's a different kind of sport. But I realized at the end of the day, what do I love? I love the same thing that Yankee fans and Dodger fans, even Red Sox fans like. I like the game. I'm a baseball fan. And I think that applies today, given what's happened earlier in the week and where we are today. We call ourselves by lots of different titles. We have religious faith. I'm a Catholic, somebody's Jewish, somebody's Methodist, somebody's Buddhist, somebody might be Muslim or Hindu or Sikh, they might be a Baptist, but we're all people who believe in an Almighty. And all of us, whatever our religion, whatever we define our demographics to be, here, we're all Americans. We're all Americans. And when the men, any of the women who were here before us today that were honoring our Veterans Day, my mother-in-law was a veteran. She was a WAVE during World War II and did work stateside that allowed a man to go overseas and fight, and she too served. But all of these folks that we're honoring today, and those that can't be here today that we honor, and those that aren't with us that we honor, they're Americans. We don't ask them. They weren't asked either when they were drafted or when they volunteered. What religion are you? How old? Are you fat? Are you thin? I guess everybody got thin after basic training. But those barriers that we set up to define pieces of us as people weren't the functional barriers. And when our men and women went overseas in the lifetime and just before my lifetime in World War II, in Korea, in Vietnam, and the actions that we've had in the Middle East since then, Iran, Afghanistan, they went because they were Americans first. So it's good that Veteran Day comes a couple of days after Election Day to remind us that we have our disagreements. And democracy allows us those disagreements. It allows us as free Americans to draw judgments, and we may not draw the same judgment. But that's okay. Met fans and Yankee fans don't have to get into fistfights over it, because we both love baseball. And we all love America. And if we can keep that idea in our minds in the days to come, we will be that much better off in both the challenges that we have and in our everyday living. And sometimes it's in our everyday living that we're more tested, that we look at the person that we're talking to and remember they're human just like us. Same emotions, same realities. Let me recognize that our Commissioner of Health is with us here today, Dr. Charlita Amler. Dr. Amler, we're very happy to have you with us here today. Thank you. And Ron, thank you again for your service. It's an honor to be here in this capacity. I intend to be back in other capacities, and I know we have some other public officials who are going to be speaking. So let me cede the microphone back to Ron. Thank you.
Thank you, George. You and Mike now to go to Washington and help us bring back the kind of resources we deserve here in New York, and the legacy of probably some of the greatest patriots that the nation's ever produced. We have also a special Marine who is a friend of mine, someone, if I ever was proud of one person, I can honestly say that this person is someone who is absolutely the epitome of what the American dream and spirit is all about. We met several years ago and worked together, and I realized very, very early that she was somebody special. A Marine who went on to become a special warrior for Veteran Services and is now heading the top office in Westchester, in New York State for Veteran Services. Viviana DeCone, Mama Via, would you please come up and say a few words? God bless her.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to ask Ron, who is my mentor, to come and stand with me, because I truly stand atop his shoulders. I've known him since I was a student, so good afternoon, and happy Veterans Day, happy Veterans Month to all of you. Happy every day is Veterans Day to you, to our county exec, Latimer, who has supported always our veterans, and we know that he will continue to support on the New York State Congress for New York State veterans. When he is in Congress, nothing ever stops. To our Congressman Lawler, who has always supported our veterans, so great to see you. To our Deputy Ken Jenkins, who was fighting for the rights of people everywhere since his youth. I know that because he grew up with my husband. My husband was fighting people, and Ken Jenkins was fighting for the people. To our Westchester County Veterans Agency champion, always our, can we give a hand for Commissioner Ron Tocci? And to all of our elected officials, to all of our commissioners, to our friends, to our outstanding, wonderful, romping, stomping veterans, the men and women of courage and honor, thank you for your service and dedication. Thank you for your distinction. Because of your voice across this state, we have more now for our veterans and families than ever. Because you have told us what your needs are and wanted for, not only for yourselves, but your family. We now have jobs and employment for you and your family. We now have Operation Baby for your children and your grandchildren, providing diapers and baby clothing because of you. We now have a Veterans Mobile that is across this state. We now have all of the things that you have asked for, emergency need and grants for your rent and your mortgage and your behind taxes and all of the things that you have said. And this is because of you and your voice. That's because for you, for the veteran service never ends. God, country, family, and then community. So we want to thank you from the battlefields of the foreign lands to the daily challenges on the home front. You have exemplified the true meaning of service. As you continue onward in your service to God, country, family, and community, we will forever hold you in our hearts and keep you in our prayers. Thank you for your service today, tomorrow, and always. It never ends. Every day is Veterans Day. And as a gift for you, last year we did the mats, we did the movies across the state for Veterans Month. This year we're doing hats. We're doing haircuts and hairdos across the state, from New York City all the way to Buffalo and in between. So take a look at the county website. They will all be posted. And our amazing governor, who could not be here today, wanted you to know that she sends this proclamation for you, for your outstanding service, and to all of you for your service to God, country, and family that never ends, declaring this as Veterans Day and Happy Veterans Month.
God bless.
Thank you, sweetheart. Good to have you.
For those of you that don't know, this is the first time I remember in many, many years that the Office of Veteran Services has been upgraded, and Mama Via is now the Commissioner of the State of New York of Division of Military Naval Affairs. Back 25 years ago, we tried to get that done. We couldn't get it done. But at the same time, it takes a jarhead to get something done. So God bless you. There's so many veterans here today. So first of all, I think every veteran should be honored for their service and their sacrifice with their families. So if we take a minute and give them the recognition that they all deserve. All the veterans, all the veterans. Just a brief remarks from someone who represents all the commanders, the past commanders, the vice commanders. There's so many throughout the audience. It's hard to recognize all of them. We're going to forget somebody, but they're all personal friends. I love them all, and we all should. But anyway, to speak just for a minute, Fred Wooding is the commander of the Legion here in Westchester County. Woody, if you would come up and just say a few words, please, and acknowledge the presence of all our people.
Thank you, Ron. Yep. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And George, I'm sorry to tell you, Maple Leafs win. Honorable County Executive and Congressman-elect George Latimer, Veteran Service Agency Director Ron Tocci, and our other assembled elected appointed officials, my fellow veterans, and all of you who have chosen to take the time out of their day to honor the American veteran, I bid you greetings. It is often said of for those who have given service to the U.S. military that all gave some, while some gave all. The veterans who are here today and in other ceremonies now and over the coming days are reminders that we were gifted to be among those who did not have to give their all. And for each of us, having been chosen to represent this great nation, and our service to the country is something which we every day hold with great pride and gratitude. While indeed on this Veterans Day, I ask for all of us to remember that we are indeed bound together by the blood that was shed in battle for its defense. And so never forget that in the end, we all stand together as citizens of these United States. Thank you, and may God bless America.
We all know how busy George, our county executive, has been for the last few months. A lot of people with ideas and suggestions and wants and needs and requests, and he's not always available to everybody, and that includes me, because I know where he is running around doing something that needs to be done. So people would turn to his deputy, Ken Jenkins. And Ken is the guy that would pick up, oh, I couldn't get to George, but you have to do this for me. Well, he's always there for everybody, and he's become somebody who's been a true advocate for veterans, and I want to acknowledge the fact that he is one of us, and at the same time, I'm going to ask him to come up and say a few words. Ken.
First, good afternoon, everyone. And as Mama V always would say, Viviana DeCohen and Commissioner DeCohen, it's always great to see you here. That says every day is Veterans Day. And that's the truth, because every day we have to thank you for being able to live the freedoms that we continue to do, and that included this week. And at this time, it's actually better that happens right after Election Day to remind us all what we all stand for. So we want to say thank you to all of our veterans once again. So give yourselves a round of applause for being here, right? And we want to make sure to continue to acknowledge that. Our leader here, County Executive, Congressman-elect George Latimer, has been, from our day one, walking through the door to make sure that we did everything possible to help support our Veteran Service Agency. And the team, led by Ron Tocci, Executive Director, as well as every member of their team, deserves a round of applause for their work on behalf of veterans each and every day here in Westchester County. So let's give it up for Ron Tocci one more time. Well, colleagues on the Board of Legislators, I'm certain the chairman will mention this as well, that the partnership between the county executive and the Board of Legislators, making sure to do whatever we can to help support our veterans. That's why in Westchester County, we have the highest property tax exemption that we can allow by law for our veterans, making sure that we are respecting all of the sacrifices you and your families have made over the years. I was privileged to stand with Mike Lawler, Congressman Mike Lawler's representatives up at the Veterans Administration Hospital with Commissioner DeCohen to talk about the initiatives for housing that were there, making sure that those resources continue to be given, and some new and innovative style of housing at our Veterans Service Agency, at Veterans Administration down right in Buchanan at the end. The Patriot Housing Initiative that has ensured that we have thousands of units. In this county, over 1,000 different individuals have been helped by that Patriot Housing Initiative. That's because of the leadership of Ron Tocci and all those folks that have been working so hard on this. The days like this remind us, and the reason that we have this in County Executive, Congressman-elect always reminds folks why we do this on the Friday before, is because we want to make sure that we can get our Westchester family together prior to 11/11 at 11 a.m. to make sure that everyone could participate in their local communities as well. So you have our continued commitment to ensure that not only our Veterans Museum here at Lasden, all of the memorials here at Lasden Park, the Veterans Memorials, that make sure you get that time to walk around while we're here on this beautiful November day, which is in the 70-degree days. I don't know how that happens. Right? But we want to make sure that you walk around and respect and understand that this place is here for you. And I know I saw Joe Stout, who's the executive director of our Parks Foundation, in that level of partnership with our Westchester County park system and with Westchester County as a whole. We need to continue to remind ourselves that we are all Americans and we fight hard with each other, and we love our country even when we don't win. We love our country even when we don't agree with our neighbors, and we have to continue to have this level of support for each other. So that's why we always want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every veteran that has served this country to allow us to do the work that we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken. You know, I served in the county legislature for 9.5 years before I went on to the state legislature. So I was going to say that we have with us also the other half of the county government, the better half, but I can't say that because I'm certain. But anyway, our chairman of the Board of Legislators is with us today, Vishat Gassi, and I would ask that you come up and say a few words for that. He's someone that's been with us from the very, very beginning, and he's got a deep appreciation for what's happening in the rest of the world right now. We come from, our immigrants come from different backgrounds and different nations, and he understands very, very clearly what it means to be an American veteran, service person, and what we need to do and why we need to appreciate what's happening in the world today. With that, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's dangerous when I'm considered the better half of the government. Obviously, that's the better half over there, but we proudly serve with them. It's kind of funny coming up here and taking time when there's so many veterans and distinguished leaders within and without the veteran community among us. I'm reminded, and I pulled up a quote that I always enjoyed by Harry S. Truman, who said, "We do not know one promise these men made, one pledge they gave, one word they spoke, but we do know that they kept it. And we owe them a debt that we can never fully repay." It's a reminder that often we don't fully understand the sacrifices made by those who serve. We may not know their struggles, the challenges, or the personal costs they've endured, but we do know that they kept their word. They stood ready when our country called, and the sacrifices they made have shaped this country forever. On this Veterans Day, we don't just honor their sacrifice, but we also honor their resilience, their dedication, and the strength it takes to put others before yourself. Whether they served in a time of war or during peace, their commitment is something that we should all strive for. To all the veterans today and those who couldn't be with us, we thank you. Your service and sacrifice mean more than words can express. We are truly thankful for everything you've done to protect our freedoms and to allow us to enjoy beautiful days and ceremonies like this. Thank you.
You know, we've been hearing about the controversial election results for president and Congress and what goes on around the country right now. And the word seems to be now unification, unity. We have to join together. We are very, very fortunate here in Westchester County. We've got someone who is already an incumbent, and we have our county executive, George, going to Washington. Two people that I know have a tremendous respect for each other, come from different parties, but at the same time really understand that the people come first. And I'm speaking about our good friend, Mike Lawler. Mike, if you would come up and say a few words, we really appreciate you being with us.
Well, I want to thank Ron Tocci. He's been a tremendous friend and leader in the veterans community here in Westchester and across New York State, and has done a tremendous job along with our commissioner, working together to the benefit of all of you and the veterans in our community. I especially want to thank all my colleagues in government for being here, but in particular, County Executive Latimer, who I look forward to working with as the representatives of Westchester County in Congress. I know George for many years, and I know he will do a phenomenal job on behalf of the people of Westchester County, as he has in numerous capacities. But it'll be nice to have a partner in Westchester that we can focus on the work of the people. And I know George will do that. So I look forward to doing that with you, and congratulations to you. For 248 years, America has endured, and we will continue to endure, no matter the outcome of any election, for one reason: our veterans. Our veterans are the ones who have preserved and protected our freedoms. Our veterans are the ones who have preserved and protected our way of life. Our veterans are the ones who have stood up on the front lines to ensure democracy here in America. We are blessed. In my district, 50% of households have a veteran, active duty military personnel, a cop, or a firefighter living in the household. We are a community of heroes, a community that understands what it is to serve this country. And so on this Veterans Day, I want to thank each and every one of our veterans, each and every one who has stood up and answered the call of duty, asking for nothing in return, not asking to be given anything or owed anything, but recognizing that your service and your sacrifice are vital to this nation's ability to thrive. We are blessed to have each and every one of you in this community, blessed by your service and what you have sacrificed and what your families have sacrificed over many years. And I think one of the things that has been remarkable about representing a community as diverse as this is when you go around in each community, it is the veterans who come home who continue to serve. It is the veterans who go into law enforcement or serve as a volunteer in their fire department or go into teaching. It's the veterans who are involved in the community nonprofits, get involved with the kids in the community. It is the veterans who recognize that when their service ended in the military, their service to America did not end with it. And so I want to thank each and every one of our veterans who, when they finished their time in the military, came home and made this community and the communities across the Hudson Valley what they are. You are the backbone of America. You are what makes this the greatest nation in the face of the earth, and the nation that has done more to help free people around the globe than any other nation in the history of mankind. So we are grateful for your service, your commitment to this country, and yes, we will endure, as we always have, because of our veterans. God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I notice in the audience we have two special people, for those of you that don't know. Our Trail of Honor is on the other side of the park, and it's probably one of the best museums, and it actually celebrates what America really stands for, this idea that became the beacon of the world, America. And it took many, many years, and through the initiation of the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 49, it was started back during the Vietnam War, and it's evolved into probably one of the finest tributes to our American veterans anywhere in the United States. Just recently, we added to that a monument that recognized the service of the LSD, which served in World War II, the USS Westchester. It was bombed, and there were dozens of sailors killed at that time, and some suffered wounds that they carried for the rest of their life. Anyway, the Daughters of American Legacy for Freedom, both Debbie Plazo and Cindy are here today, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for putting together that last monument and others. So both of you, thank you so much. God bless you. Daughters of Liberty's Legacy. Okay, I got it. And Mama Via, you mentioned that there's going to be all kind of services on Tuesday or whenever. You talked about haircuts and hairdo. Can you do anything for me? Never too late, huh? Okay. Anyway, all right. Before we can conclude our services today, I thought it would be at least appropriate to remind everybody. We keep talking about reminders. Monuments are reminders. We should never forget. You've heard that in almost every speech that people make. But I wanted to, again, reiterate the defining moments of history came during the periods of great conflicts when America's sons and daughters answered the call to fight for freedom around the world. These individuals are our friends, our neighbors, our relatives. They actually did change the course of history, and they made America what it is today. Even today, our American men and women serving in far corners of the globe are actually helping defend freedom and democracy. Hopefully, they won't engage in combat, but we don't know. And like so many before, some of them may not come home, and some will come home with needs that we have to tend to. I think the experience of these people and individuals is something we should all reflect upon. And in many ways, their service and sacrifice is truly what this nation is all about. They made it what it is today. So we must remember their contribution and that of their comrades. As individuals and as a society, we have a responsibility to remind them. So let us now pay tribute to our veterans, and let us and our government be ever mindful of the words of George Washington. The future generation, the willingness of future generations to serve in time of war is directly proportional to the way they perceive how we treat the veterans of the prior wars. George Washington, farewell address. He was not only a great general and a president, but he was a psychologist. And we have today, think about it, an all-volunteer army. We have about 40,000 veterans still alive living in our midst here in Westchester County. And we provide with our veteran services with the help of the county executive and the legislature and all the good people who help support us, all those services that they earned, deserve, and we are obligated to provide to them. So with that, I hope everyone would at least say a prayer today for all those names of those special people whose names are inscribed in memoriam, and at the same time, remind both Mike and George, as they're in Washington, the number one priority, taking care of the people who take care of us. God bless them, and God bless everybody else. I'm going to call upon now Reverend to come up and give us her benediction.
Please stand. Let us go forth into the world in peace and dedicated to your service, O Lord. Let us hold fast to that which is good, render to no man evil for evil, strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, help the needy and afflicted, honor all men and women. Let us love and service the Lord, rejoicing in the power of his Spirit, and may God's blessing be upon us and remain with us always. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Everyone, if they would continue to stand for a minute, a moment of silence for all those that are not with us that did serve our great nation. And then we will have taps by the American Legion, our rifle salute, and then we'll have a rifle salute and taps, I'm sorry. Whenever. Detail.
On guard! Country! Stand by! Right! Hey! One! Two! Ready! Aim! Fire! Aim! Fire! Aim! Fire! Attend! Easy!
Want to thank everybody. That concludes our service. Enjoy this beautiful day. If you want to go down to the monuments or the museum, either way. But thank the good Lord for your family and for all the great people that serve this nation. Thank you. God bless.